Jimmy, thank you very much, and welcome everyone to America West Arena with the two best records in the NBA squaring off tonight. It's the best offense, the Phoenix Suns, against the best defensive team in the league, in the San Antonio Spurs. And here's the summary so far. Both teams started out like a ball of fire, couldn't miss early, but since then the defense has picked up. And Steve Nash playing in this game as Amari Stoudemire draws the foul and go to the line. Nash, who missed the last 3 games, makes Mike D'Antoni very happy. But right now he's on the bench and resting his back that has been giving him problems.
The game hasn't reached the pace and excitement and intensity level that we thought. San Antonio so determined to come in here and control the tempo. Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili were very strong early on. Tony Parker has done a nice job of containing the penetration capabilities of Steve Nash, who has not been able to get anything going for this high wire act of Phoenix Suns.
Of course, it's been evident with Nash out just what a value he is to this team. You talk about MVP candidates. Woodruff misses from 3-point range, and Richardson the rebound.
I think Steve Nash is the MVP of the league.
First half of the season, you'd have to say so. Stoudemire has it. You want to talk about Shaquille O'Neal as well. Stoudemire able to knock it down, and nobody happier on the Suns roster than Stoudemire to have Steve Nash back on the floor.
Oh, Stoudemire's numbers just go through the roof when Steve Nash is out there.
Richardson almost the steal, and Ginobili spots up and nails the 3.
The thing I love about San Antonio's team is that they play their best in the biggest of games, and they have come out tonight determined to push this raucous, wild, and electric crowd back into their seats.
Stoudemire now starting to erupt. He's got 11 points here in the opening period. And the Suns back up by 2. Shot clock and game clock nearly even.
This is the second unit here for Popovich, and it's the unit that Brent Barry has to pull together to give that first unit much-needed rest over the course of the long haul.
4 on the shot clock. Ginobili makes his move. Gets hit in the head. Shot won't go. And Manu Ginobili will go to the free throw line. Of course, the Phoenix Suns, we talk about benches. Their bench has not been all that deep this year, and it's certainly not deep tonight. They only have 9 eligible players because of a trade they made earlier today, acquiring veteran Jimmy Jackson from New Orleans. Jackson never reported to New Orleans after being traded from Houston, but they gave up 3 players, Casey Jacobson, Matchup Lampy, and Jackson Vroman. And those 3 are on their way to New Orleans. Jackson not ready yet to play for Phoenix.
Poor Casey Jacobson, he was having the time of his life living here in the Valley of the Sun.
Richardson, that'll count if it goes. Not a bad attempt. As we end the first quarter in Phoenix. 12 minutes are complete at America West. It's all even. Welcome back to America West Arena. First quarter already had 8 ties and 5 lead changes as the Spurs and Suns are all even after 1. Hello again, everyone. The primal scream you heard throughout Phoenix today was from Mike D'Antoni, the head coach of the Phoenix Suns. Yes, Steve Nash is back. It's amazing the difference, and you usually tell when a guy's not around just how much he means to the team.
I thought that scream was you. Steve Nash is such an incredible force, and it's remarkable because he is so diminutive in physical stature. But with and without Steve Nash, you're talking about the tale of 2 cities. When he plays, they beat everybody. When he doesn't play, they can't beat a single squad. This guy is the MVP.
And the point guard matchup is fun because, yes, it's Tim Duncan's team. He's won 2 MVPs, one of the best players in the world. But so often, the Spurs go as Tony Parker goes. And Tony Parker's playing some of the best ball of his career. He's on the bench now as Barry misfires on a 3. But Parker's been instrumental.
And on a real roll. In his 4th year now, Tony Parker, in the words of Greg Popovich today, Tony Parker has grown into the position now as a leader. Ginobili just too strong, too tough. This is a real squad, San Antonio. Top to bottom, around the horn, and then at the end of the day, they still have the Kings and Tim Duncan.
Well, Steve Nash said they're the best team in the league. Point blank right now. They want to get there, but they're not as good as the Spurs. That's what Nash said. They turn it over. Woodward turns it over right back. And this was Parker. Parker signed to a 10-day contract as Ginobili called for a reaching foul because of the injury to Leandro Barbosa.
Smush. Now, how do you get a nickname like Smush?
Well, his mother gave his dad that nickname. That was kind of a little pet name between husband and wife, and they just passed it on to young William Henry Parker. That's his real name.
So nicknames are now hereditary. Genetic.
Nesterovic had it. Parker nearly took it right out of his hands. Smush Parker has played briefly with Cleveland and with Detroit, getting an opportunity now with the highest scoring team in the NBA.
You seem to know a lot about this guy, Smush Parker.
Well, he's a Fordham grad, Bill.
Are you related to him?
No.
You're a Fordham grad too, right?
It's a Fordham, yep.
Fordham Flash, is that what it is?
Yes. Parker playing in just his second game with the Phoenix Suns, had 6 turnovers in 18 minutes in his first. This is a tough team to get accustomed to playing with. And Ginobili knocked away by Richardson.
Good transition defense by the Suns. Parker just has to settle it down.
That was a pass. That was a pass.
Well, Quentin Richardson's having the time of his life here in the Valley of the Sun after all those years with the Clippers.
See, now, if I'm playing, I take that as a sign. I'm shooting every time. Parker clopping it back on the other end. That's unbelievable.
They clear out the side. They're trying to throw a lob pass over the top, and it goes right in the basket. Now that is being on fire right there.
It's only a 2-pointer, though. His foot was on the 3-point line.
What touch. Why were they even looking whether his feet were? He wasn't shooting.
There's Barry. Malik Rose. Oh, way off the mark.
Watch your face on the rebounds there.
And you just see Parker, they want him to push the ball more. It's tough getting him used to the pace that Steve Nash usually brings it up with. That's a shot. That was not an alley-oop pass.
Joe Johnson 10 days ago, along with Quentin Richardson, just lit it up in this building. One of the finest displays, most exhilarating exhibitions of basketball that I've seen in my entire life when they trounced the Miami Heat here.
Beno Udrih hits the 3. And Udrih, speaking of valuable players, he's starting to become a very important part of the rotation for Greg Popovich.
But isn't that what Popovich does? He develops talent. They talk about the lack of teaching in the NBA. I don't buy it. This guy, Popovich, Jerry Sloan, does it very well. And now D'Antoni here in Phoenix is doing it himself.
And a loose ball foul call on Stephen Hunter. And Manu Ginobili just came down on his left foot. And he's hurt in the backcourt. Ginobili grabbing his left ankle.
Yeah, this guy is tough as can be.
He's had ankle problems in the past. And he gets up and trying to walk it off a little bit.
The guy looked like he needed a stretcher. Now he's going to stay in the game?
Well, he was looking over at the bench. I think he didn't want anyone to notice him that he was down. He's going to be taken out, and Devin Brown will come in. Most opponents don't like playing against the Phoenix Suns. This is Ginobili's kind of game.
How could you not like playing this way? This is the way you grow up, just learning, living how to play.
Tell you what, I've seen looks on some of the opponents of the Suns. They're not enjoying some of this. The pace can really wear you down. Ginobili, the leading scorer in the game with 14 points as Nesterovic puts it in, and he comes down on his ankle, and he's in a lot of pain. And they quickly foul to stop the game.
This is not good. What did Greg Popovich tell us this morning? We asked him what his biggest concern was.
Remain healthy.
And now everybody's just dropping like flies.
You know that you're doing well when your head coach says your number one concern is to remain healthy. That means a lot of other things are going well. Obviously, he comes right down on Hunter or Marion's left foot.
Well, we've seen that so many times here this year. Carmelo Anthony's been doing it now. Rasho Nesterovic.
Well, Ginobili got up, but right now Nesterovic is not. And we'll take a break. Early second quarter as the Spurs lead by 2. Manu Ginobili and the San Antonio Spurs leading by 2, but a few concerns, injury concerns right now for the Spurs. First, Ginobili, watch him step on the foot of Amari Stoudemire and slightly turned his ankle.
So it rolls over. He has to go to the ground. They quickly take him out.
You know what? He's grabbing the left one there, and it looked like the right one was
I think something happened in transition, and then in the very next sequence, Rasho Nesterovic lands right on Sean Marion's foot. And we've seen that time and time again, and that is not a good sight right there. Poor Rasho.
Let's check in with Jim Gray.
All right, Mike, first with Manu Ginobili. During that timeout, Will Sevening looked at him. Ginobili said he is fine. He gave me the okay signal. He will return to the game. Of much greater concern right now is Nesterovic. He has been taken back into the locker room. He is being looked at by the doctors. They will get some x-rays, and when we have the information, Mike, we'll get it to you.
And Jimmy, Nesterovic, very important to the Spurs, as Greg Popovich says, in terms of defensively. He's in the right spot defensively more than any other player. He's really picked up the team's defense, and one of the reasons why they're the best defensive team in the league is Marion knocks down the three. Sean Marion.
Back to Nesterovic. You know what that right spot is? Right next to Tim Duncan.
I'm not saying he's the best player. I'm quoting the coach. Barry, a wide open three.
All right. Good to see Brent Barry come alive here.
Barry just recently had his best scoring game a couple of games ago. And a foul. Tony Massenberg's come into the game, and him and Barry got caught up on the pick. Barry picks up the foul.
How about the job Sean Marion has done, though? I mean, this was a guy who made the dream team over in Athens. Rarely played over there. Larry Brown, you know, talked nice about him, but didn't put him in the game very much. But now he's in the top 10 in rebounding. Well, and the guy is so little. He used to be a small forward. Now he's playing power forward and center. Well, I love this guy.
He's the smallest and lightest player in the top 20 in rebounding. And as you mentioned, he's 7th in the league in that. He's 5th in steals. He is playing out of position. But he did play in Athens. In fact, he had 22 points in the bronze medal game against Lithuania.
He didn't play enough. If he had played more, they would have won the gold.
Thank you, Coach Walton. Evan Brown. Massenberg trying to set something up. Shot clock at 7. Woodruff. The lefty's got a nice jumper, a rookie from Slovenia.
Oh, the concentration and the focus. You got big Stephen Hunter running out, breathing down his neck. This guy shows a lot of poise.
And here's Massenberg. Going to have to play big minutes tonight with Nesterovic. And Amari Stoudemire with 13 points here in the first half.
The progress of Amari Stoudemire, working with assistant coach Mark Ivaroni on the footwork, developing a real game. No longer just size, strength, power, and athleticism.
Duncan trying to get free against Hunter. Tough shot from Duncan.
Tim Duncan is 1 for 3 from the floor, and they're tied.
Nash, that's a 3 for Steve Nash. He got a huge ovation when he was announced in the starting lineups here at America West Arena.
How about when they announced a half hour before the game that he was going to even play? It was like in a boxing arena.
He was a question mark coming in. Duncan off the mark. Hunter playing him well.
Getting underneath Tim. Got to be a little bit of concern right now about the loss of Nesterovic. Everybody's thinking about, can my ankle be the next one to go?
Nice pass from Nash originally.
Good defense, San Antonio.
Shot clock at 6. Bowen, excellent defense. Stoudemire steps back. That's what he worked on all summer.
Now Phoenix is rolling. Popovich is sensing that. He's got to put a stop to this immediately with this timeout. The offense coming alive for Phoenix. Steve Nash makes it happen.
Amari Stoudemire, 7 of 8 from the field.
But a 9-2 run by the Phoenix Suns. Early offense. Shot clock right up there at 21. 20. Steve Nash pulling the trigger. This is Phoenix Sun basketball. The hesitation, very next possession, the ball movement, the left-handed pass. Steve Nash loves to use that left. Everybody's swinging it around. The patience, knowing that they will get a good shot. Finally, to Amari Stoudemire, 15 feet away, net. The crowd is up. This is great basketball.
Normally, they don't have to make that many passes to get an open shot, but that shows you how good the Spurs are defensively. They played them so well for most of that possession, yet the extra pass, and that's what makes this team so tough, Bill. They can all, especially the starters on Phoenix, they can all pass, they can all dribble, and they can all shoot.
My favorite part of basketball, Mike, is the mental and emotional aspect, and that's what Steve Nash brings. This guy has no skills physically. I mean, this guy looks like Paul Simon out there. And now all of a sudden he is out leading the entire NBA, a game dominated by the winners of the genetic lottery.
Paul Simon of Simon and Garfunkel? Is that what you mean?
How many other Paul Simons are there?
Woodruff to Massenberg. Hunter again defends it. And then called for the foul. He knows he hit him, but good defensive work from Stephen Hunter down low.
Stephen Hunter, who came over as a free agent after 3 years in Orlando. Things fell apart last year. Nice touch there to keep it away, Stephen Hunter, and then picks up the foul, which it's okay for your backup center to pick up fouls, and when your starting center leaves in a wheelchair, that's not a good sign.
Nesterovic.
Oh, look, they're telling Jim Gray, don't come in here.
He gets that a lot.
No, that's usually me.
Duncan hits the free throw. Tony Parker will return. Of course, free throw shooting could be an important part for the San Antonio Spurs. They are not a good free throw shooting team, one of the worst in the NBA, but they're 5 for 5 so far tonight.
It's amazing how you always look for the negatives.
You need to find balance in your life, Bill. 4-point lead for the Phoenix Suns. 6.5 remaining in the second. Oh, Stoudemire gets inside.
Now that's a basketball play right there. I'm surprised he's not going to the line.
Ginobili back in the game. Duncan not expecting the pass. Gets it to fall.
When you talk to all the Spurs players and coaches, they constantly rave about Duncan's hands. And the fact that you can throw the worst pass in the world to him, and he'll turn it into something silky smooth.
Nash, speaking of passing, Hunter. And Stephen Hunter is giving the Suns a nice lift off the bench here in this first half. He'll go to the line for two as Massenberg picks up the personal. So a timeout, midway point of the second quarter. Spurs a little banged up in this one. Manu Ginobili still playing. Raso Nesterovic is not. And the Suns with the lead here in the second.
ESPN's presentation of NBA Friday Coast to Coast, brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors, Wake Up and Drive, and Moen Faucets. Moen, buy it for looks, buy it for life.
Welcome back to Phoenix. I'm Jim Gray. One of the reasons that the San Antonio Spurs have the best record in the National Basketball Association is because they have been the healthiest team in the league. Manu Ginobili missed 2 games earlier this season. Of course, he turned his ankle tonight and he is returning. Robert Horry is out tonight, but other than that, they've had nobody else miss any games. Now with the turned ankle to Nesterovic, you saw him being wheeled out. Mike, he is headed back right now to get an x-ray on his ankle. We're told by Tom James, the PR director of the team, he will definitely not return tonight, that it's very sore, it's swollen, and he is in a considerable amount of pain. Mike?
Thank you, Jimmy. Again, that means Massenberg, who's 37 years old in his 13th year in the league, is going to play some pretty big minutes. He's only averaging about 8 minutes a game. Obviously, doesn't play every game.
But I think it exposes really the weakness of the Spurs. The endless dream of trying to replace David Robinson. Try to get somebody who's really good, who's big. But every team is trying to look for those guys.
Well, certainly Nesterovic is capable of filling the role, but every team worries about that. A key star going down. Ginobili gets hit. Shot won't go. Ginobili will go to the free throw line as Hunter picks up his 3rd foul in 7 minutes.
It's sad that Robert Horry can't play. I was really looking forward to his return here to the Valley of the Sun. Robert Horry, his knee in the game against the Clippers on Wednesday night. Kneecap popped out, and then he had to put it right back in.
A reminder on NBA calendar, Saturday on NBA TV, Celtics and the Hawks from Atlanta, 7 Eastern. And then next Thursday on TNT, the doubleheader, as the Pistons and the Pacers from Conseco, 7 Eastern, followed by the Spurs at home against Sacramento. We're the midway point of the NBA season in terms of record. This is the 42nd game of the season for the Spurs, and the 41st for Phoenix.
Spurs on a 3-game road trip tonight here in Phoenix. Then Sunday at Sacramento, huge game. Sacramento playing very well. And then up at Portland on Monday night, the Blazers thinking it up right now.
Richardson stripped down low by Ginobili, and off of the leg of Richardson. That's part of the great defense of Ginobili. He's going to be an all-NBA defender one of these years.
Well, how many All-Stars do we have in this game right now? I mean, I think Ginobili makes the All-Star team. Nash, Stoudemire, Sean Marion.
Ginobili kicks it out. Bowen can't hit that time, and a loose ball foul called against Malik Rose.
I didn't say Tim Duncan. I just assumed that you would think that Tim Duncan would make the All-Star team.
That was the correct assumption.
Okay.
5:09 left. This has been a seesaw game. We've got 13 ties and 11 lead changes, and now because they're in the penalty, Sean Marion will go to the line. Brought him up a little bit earlier. In a lot of ways, he's an underrated player because everybody's talking about Nash and Stoudemire, rightfully so. This guy's numbers at his size are incredible.
Forget the size. This guy can play basketball. And that's what I give all the credit in the world to the Colangelo family. Brian, now the general manager. Gary, his health is coming back after the prostate surgery. And also D'Antoni. These guys have a vision. I hope that the rest, there's Jerry Colangelo. 2 weeks ago, had the prostate surgery. Best wishes to you, Jerry. But I just hope that the rest of the basketball world has a chance to see the brilliance of this team. And this will hopefully become the future of the game.
Bowen way short, and Bowen off the mark. He's 0 for 6.
Nice pass.
Richardson gets inside. Blocked by Bowen. Marion right there. Sean Marion with the quick jump. And the Suns back up by 4.
Quickness, along with balance, the two most important skills in the entire NBA.
Suns 7 of 11 from the field here in the second. Rose has it knocked away. Good defense from the Suns. Johnson protecting the ball nicely. Stoudemire with the finish.
Oh my gosh.
They've got the crowd on its feet and the largest lead for the Suns.
That got me on my feet.
Duncan draws the foul and quickly quiets the West Arena.
The ultimate silencer, Tim Duncan, the placid staid look, but in transition, the delayed break that you mentioned earlier. Amari Stoudemire, who has a history of posterizing guys. They showed a one against Ola Wakandi so often. Tim Duncan realizing that, saying, I'll get it back on the other end. Sorry.
Stoudemire played with Duncan, as did Marion in the Olympics this summer. He talked to him about the impact that Duncan had. He said Duncan wasn't very vocal with him, but he said he watched how he approached his craft every day and how hard he practiced.
Leadership by example, isn't that the best teacher? But even Tim's teammates say that he never talks to them.
Well, he's been much more vocal than he was earlier in his career. Duncan with the block rejects it out of bounds. And you can see him. He's much more animated emotionally.
See, that's why I think if Duncan is going to send this ball right out of bounds, I think guys like Monty Ginobili and Brent Barry are so critical to the Spurs' success because they provide that wild craziness that you have to have.
Nash had to put that up. Shot clock was winding down, and the long rebound goes to Marion. 3.5 remaining in the second. It's a 4-point Phoenix lead. The Suns trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. Oh, what a pass! And the finish. No, and a foul as well.
Throw it all out there, Mike. Come on.
Greg Popovich is on the court. I don't know what he's arguing about.
Now this is a basketball play here. Thread the needle. That is just perfect execution of the pick and roll. When you can
no, they're waving off the basket.
Why?
Whatever Greg Popovich said has resulted in the change.
Now that's power.
I think they're saying the foul before the shot. Popovich immediately went to it, and Jimmy Capers went over to Jim Clark and discussed it. But look at that again. Mike D'Antoni obviously disagrees.
Who'd they call the foul on? Where's the grab? They called the grab up high.
Yeah, he pushed him before the dunk. Ginobili pushed him before the dunk. And he missed the second foul shot.
I call that continuation. Let it go.
Well, he wasn't. He really didn't have the ball when Ginobili pushed him. It appeared to be the right call. Duncan. And there's a goaltend on Sean Marion.
But that fired up this crowd here. And that's a good thing for the Phoenix Suns. Because, yes, they have the three-point lead, but San Antonio is right there. And they're the most precise team in the entire league. Sean Marion coming from the weak side. You just wait too long. It's a game of angles.
Nash. Stoudemire blocked by Duncan. And last touch by Duncan, so it's Phoenix ball.
Nash's stretch right now is much more productive than it was in the early going.
They have the two best records in the NBA, battling all out here in Phoenix. John, thank you. Greg Anthony, I think right on the money there. You just see the difference in his teammates just when he's on the floor.
Well, you have the two best teams in the NBA going head-to-head here, and somebody should tell Stephen Smith that Phoenix is leading in this game.
Meanwhile, they do it different ways. Suns on the offensive end, best offensive team in the NBA. Just terrific numbers on the offensive end. Whereas the Spurs, it's just the opposite. Their defense is what makes them tick.
The contrast in styles has come to the front here because the pace is being dominated, I think, by San Antonio's discipline. The problem for San Antonio is that Tony Parker is not having a good game. Tony Parker's 1 for 4, 2 points, 1 assist, and 3 turnovers. The last time these two teams played, Tony Parker had a season high 29 points.
And that's a three from Johnson. Stoudemire gets the long rebound.
Stoudemire starting to roll here. I'd get some opportunities for him at the basket area.
Nash kicks it out. Good defense for Parker. Nash finding Stoudemire. Amari Stoudemire now with 20 points. He better give Steve Nash a big hug and say welcome back. What a difference Stoudemire is when Nash is on the floor.
But what we've seen in terms of the growth of Amari Stoudemire, not only as a player but as a human being as well. Mature now, moving through his NBA career, and it's figuring that this guy is a real star himself.
Oh, how about Duncan handling the ball, but can't finish. Rose keeps it alive. And you can credit halfback to Malik Rose, even though Duncan gets the 2 points.
San Antonio has two guys playing well. Duncan, who's got 11 points, and 9 rebounds. And Manu Ginobili, who's got 16 already.
Nash off that left foot. 7 points, 3 assists for Nash. Suns back up by 5. It's a low-scoring game for them.
Absolutely. That's what I said. The pace is San Antonio's pace.
Early, it was just the opposite. Both teams came out running. And the Spurs then able to slow it down. Parker wide open. And Parker hasn't been close on his shots tonight. And he's been shooting the ball exceptionally well lately. 6 turnover for Phoenix. 7 turnover for San Antonio.
Nice.
Marion. Oh, pretty shot from Marion. And this is the largest lead of the first half.
This is what has excited the world about NBA basketball, the way this Suns squad is playing. Shades of Tom Chambers, Kevin Johnson, Charles Barkley, Danny Ainge. Up and down.
Parker finding Duncan, and an easy bucket for Duncan. Pretty free from Tony Parker.
But the beautiful thing is Phoenix doesn't care if that happens. They're just going to come right back and get it done on the offensive end. Another beautiful pass by Nash.
Marion, tough shot with Duncan in his face, and Duncan with his 11th rebound. Here's Ginobili, coast to coast, and one. Manu Ginobili with a chance for a three-point play. Mike D'Antoni very upset.
And he's got something to complain about. They didn't call a continuation at one end down here, and all a referee has to do is be consistent.
You know what, though? That other one wasn't a continuation. Now, let's see if this one was.
You can call continuation on any play. That play, he took 2 strides after that.
I disagree. I think that's continuation, and the other one wasn't. It was on the entry pass.
And he took it, he caught it, and went to the basket and threw it down.
Meanwhile, he hits the free throw.
Suns have 11 transition points tonight, including secondary breaks.
How about Ginobili? 19 points, 6 of 7 from the field, and he's hit all 5 of his free throws.
Competitive greatness. At your best when your best is needed.
Parker called for the foul. And both teams in the penalty, so Nash will go to the line as Parker picks up his first.
Steve Nash, who was tentative and hesitant early on, has now really found his rhythm and confidence, finding everybody. The power slams here. Sean Marion, this is his game. That is as difficult a play as there is in all of basketball. He makes it look routine. But the way they have the opportunities, the pace that they play at, and it's all generated by Steve Nash.
And here's one of the reasons of Nash's importance. He's one of the best free throw shooters in the history of the NBA. 3rd all time in terms of career free throw percentage. 89% for his career. Four-point Phoenix lead. Shot clock is turned off in what has been, as expected, a very entertaining first half. They're actually chanting defense here at America West Arena. What's wrong with them? Ginobili slicing in the lane.
Oh,
Devin Brown for three.
oh, what basketball.
Nash, that will not count. Did not get it off. Oh, he almost put it in. That will end. A wild first half.
It's fun.
Amari Stoudemire welcoming back Steve Nash, exploding. Stoudemire with 20 points in the first half. Meanwhile, Manu Ginobili had 19, but it's Steve Nash making the difference in what the Suns just looked like out on the floor, and he's with our Jim Gray.
Thank you very much, Mike. Steve, 11 points for you here in the first half. Can you feel how different the confidence level of your teammates is when you're out here on the court?
Well, I wasn't out here, so I can't really tell. But, I think it's
Just your presence.
We have a young team, and, with playing without a point guard and playing without a leader and a veteran, it's very difficult for a young team who's been playing with one the whole year. So our guys can get it done without me for a few days. They just didn't quite get their rhythm going. So I think they're just happy to have the old team back.
How are you feeling?
Okay, good enough. Good enough. I think I'll be fine.
Why have the San Antonio Spurs been able to, in many ways, dominate the pace of this game?
They're a terrific team. I think we're winning, but
Yes, you are.
we're winning, but they've done well. They're a good team, so we're happy with the lead.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thanks.
One other note, Mike. Rasto Nesterovic, X-rays are negative. He is out of this game and will be reevaluated tomorrow. Mike?
Jimmy, thank you. Coming up at halftime, the Toyota halftime show. John Saunders, Greg Anthony, Tim Legler, and Stephen A. Smith. A wild game at Madison Square Garden, went right down to the wire, plus the Pacers and the Heat, and a terrific one in Miami. Steve Nash is back, played 20 of 24 minutes, 9 points, 4 assists, but his presence making a huge difference. Halftime here at America West Arena, Suns by 1. America West Arena tonight, matchup of the two best records in the NBA. 13 ties, 11 lead changes in a one-point game after the first two quarters. Hi again, everyone, with Bill Walton, Mike Breen on hand. We'll get to Jim Gray in just a couple of minutes. This was a fun game to watch in the early going. Suns with Steve Nash back, obviously just a different team.
What we live for, though. This is beautiful basketball. The two most exciting, the most precise, the most efficient teams in the NBA going head-to-head. And we look at the Chrysler storyline in the first half. For San Antonio, it's really injuries. Rasto Nesterovic goes down with a very bad ankle. We're told by Jim Gray that he's unavailable the rest of the half. We'll have more on that later. Manu Ginobili, though, 19 points in only 17 minutes. He had to go out for a while, but it was the return of Steve Nash, the NBA's top candidate for the MVP, leads the NBA in assists. He didn't have spectacular numbers, but he's turned the tide. Big concerns, though. Lack of big men for San Antonio and no bench production whatsoever for the Phoenix Suns.
Well, the Phoenix Suns bench is an area that Mike D'Antoni knows they have to improve on, but he's not overly concerned because he says his starting five can play 35, 36 minutes without a problem. Plus, they have Jimmy Jackson, who they just obtained. He's not in uniform tonight, but he will certainly help them out as well. Before we get to more of that, let's send it over to Jim Gray.
All right, Mike, as Bill alluded to, Rasto Nesterovic, he will not return tonight. He has a severely sprained ankle. It is a second-degree sprain. That usually means 1 to 3 weeks. They will reevaluate him tomorrow. I spoke to Greg Popovich. He said, as for this game, very unhappy with the way that they are defending Steve Nash. He said he has gotten away from us several times. We contained him much better in the first game. We got to control the sideline, and we got to control him on the pick and roll, and somehow, some way, figure out a way to stop him and get the ball out of his hands. Mike?
Jimmy, in that first game against Phoenix, the Spurs held the Suns to 39% shooting from the field, as you see the bench. But they're shooting 48% tonight. There was a couple of games ago, where the Suns bench didn't score a point. They played a combined 31 minutes, took 2 shots, didn't score a single point. That does not happen very often. Ginobili, a big point production in the first half. Loving this style, but turns it over that time.
Back to the first game between these two teams. Steve Nash had all his points in the first quarter of that game because the Spurs came out with a defensive focus on Amari Stoudemire. Then they realized, as everyone else around the world has, that Steve Nash is the catalyst of this squad. They shut him down. Tony Parker went wild, and they blew out the Suns in the second half.
See Parker on Nash, trying to defend him, does a good job. Nash falls down. Parker's gotten a lot better defensively. That's a tough shot with a lot of contact.
The thing about Steve Nash, when he was a kid, he suffered an injury to his left ankle. And now he prefers to go to his left so that he can jump off his right ankle. Devin Brown for the Spurs knows that. Tony Parker slow to make that adjustment. Coming to his left all the time as a right-handed player, a Bob McAdoo, a World B. Free used to do, Walter Davis so much.
That was good defense from Parker. He just kept in his own space, and even though there was contact, it was mostly initiated by Nash.
Good defense will always get scorched by great offense.
Quentin Richardson always gets scorched.
Always. Offense has such an advantage.
Ginobili with the left hand. Rose mistimed his jump. And Ginobili nearly poked it away. Nash played 20 of the 24 minutes in the first half, so the back obviously feeling pretty well. He told Jim Gray feels good. Stoudemire. Tipped out of bounds by Richardson. San Antonio ball.
The Suns have more players playing well than San Antonio does, and that usually bodes well for the home team. Now, granted, they're getting nothing off the bench. You pointed out they've yet to score there. But you got Marion playing well, Joe Johnson, Nash, Stoudemire. Spurs have two players playing well, and they're short Robert Horry, who's out with a bad knee tonight.
Ginobili and Duncan, and against Parker, the one that's struggling tonight. Rose getting the start in the second half with no Nesterovic. Parker. Well, he hasn't even been close on a lot of his shots tonight. He's not in the rebound. And as we said earlier, but he's been shooting the ball very well recently.
When we saw him at the hotel last night, he was just all bubbly and happy and looking great. Talked to him in the locker room before the game. He was on it. Just can't figure this one out. Nice pass.
Ginobili. Inside. Stoudemire.
Oh, my God.
22 for the 22-year-old.
I think he's got a future in this game.
Parker. Ginobili's been hot. Not that time. And Joe Johnson with another rebound. Johnson has 5 boards. Filling up the stat sheet once again. Sean Marion hits a 3.
Popovich says timeout. We got to stop this now. Electric explosion here in America West.
And the largest lead of the game for the Phoenix Suns as they go on a 7-0 run.
The ball movement of the Phoenix Suns. What makes everybody smile right now. Arizona beautiful in the wintertime. The desert in full bloom right now. Richardson, the double clutch throwdown. Come on, how good is that? And then a 3 to extend this lead. What is Greg Popovich and the Spurs going to do about it?
ESPN's presentation of NBA Friday Coast to Coast, brought to you by Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard. And the Punisher video game from THQ, available now, where justice ends, the punishment begins.
Phoenix Suns lead by 8, off to the best start in franchise history when they began the year 31-4, but their depth was a big question mark. Well, they made a trade today to try and help that, getting Jimmy Jackson from New Orleans, sending Casey Jacobson, Machek Mopey, and Jackson Broman to New Orleans. Jackson's had a long career in the NBA, played for a lot of different teams, but he's a very experienced player. It all began in Dallas, 4.5 years with the Mavericks, then part of a season with New Jersey, part of a season with Philly, part of a season with Golden State, had a full year in Portland, and then a year and a half in Atlanta. Just part of a season in Cleveland, 1 year in Miami, just 1 season in Sacramento, and a year and a half in Houston. Went to New Orleans, didn't even play for them, and that's what it looked like in a uniform. So Jackson, his 11th team, had a chance to tie Massenburg and Chucky Brown if he would have played just 1 game for New Orleans, but it doesn't count. But he will be now a member of the Phoenix Suns.
Jim Jackson is in a different class of a player besides Tony Massenburg and Chucky Brown. He will add experience right now and talent today. But when you're traded that many times and you're as talented as Jim Jackson is, there's got to be something there.
3-second violation call. So Phoenix will get it back. Turnovers right now, 9 for San Antonio and just 6 for Phoenix. Pretty good number against the San Antonio Spurs defense.
Nice defensive rotation by the Spurs.
Marion blocked by Duncan.
Duncan is so smart. He just comes out and forces Marion to jump an inch further out than he wants to. Bodies flying everywhere.
A lot of contact. The Suns wanted a charge on Duncan. Nash quickly down the other way. Can't get it to fall, and Malik Rose with the rebound.
That shot after a made basket was taken with 4 seconds gone with the shot clock.
Bowen wide open. Boy, Bowen has not been close tonight. He's 0 for 7.
This is like bowling for dollars out there.
Stoudemire. And Johnson. Joe Johnson. Count the basket and a foul against Manu Ginobili. So Richardson will get a free throw as Ginobili picks up the personal. That should be his second.
And this is why you keep going to the offensive glass all the time. Ginobili on the left right there. You're going to see him get his elbows up there. And while some would say that's a clothesline, Manu Ginobili does not bring any of that element to the game. And this is just a play of 2 guys going for the ball. Ginobili does the right thing and getting his arms up, but Quentin Richardson was just slashing too hard to the hoop.
8-point lead for Phoenix. And just about 3.5 gone by here in this third quarter. Suns trying to snap their 5-game losing streak. Of course, it coincided with the injury to Steve Nash. But Nash is playing and playing well, as is Ginobili. And Manu Ginobili now with 21.
Obviously, the strategy for D'Antoni is to smother Duncan as much as possible. Make the other guys beat you. And right now, Parker and Bowen are not doing it. Ginobili certainly is.
Bowen took a shot in the nose. Marion gets inside and throws it away. No deflection. Starting to get very physical out there for a fast-paced game.
Tim Duncan, like Hakeem Olajuwon, an emerging passing force in the NBA. The guys who have to keep moving, though, because when Duncan steps away from the basket like that, it really cuts down any angle he'll possibly have.
Duncan, his 3rd assist. He was not a very good passer out of the double team when he first came into the league. It's a part of his game that he's really worked on and developed beautifully.
You know why that is? Because he didn't play basketball as a kid. He didn't play basketball when he was little. To where you learn how to play with the ball in your hand, you learn how to pass all the time. Tim, of course, like Hakeem Olajuwon, came to the game late.
Meanwhile, he draws that foul. Sean Marion picks up his 3rd. And for Phoenix, it's their first team foul.
On Marion's penetrations, he's leaving the ground too far away from the basket. You have to keep it one more stride.
Duncan just kind of lost it on the pass, slipped out of his hands a little bit, and a turnover. Ball poked away from Duncan on the defensive end. Brent Barry back in the game. Massenberg to pass in. Lefty shot from Tim Duncan. Duncan's got 15 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 block shots. Make that 3 block shots.
And he's not playing that well. That's how good he is. But his numbers have not been there the last 3 games. Under 40%, only 13.5 points. Look at little Stevie there.
But he's playing well tonight, Duncan. Stolen by Barry. Back-to-back turnovers, and Ginobili ahead of the pack.
Brent Barry, what a pickup.
The defense leading the offense for the San Antonio Spurs as they go on a 6-0 run. And a timeout call by Mike D'Antoni.
Tim Duncan moving without the ball delivered crisply and sharply, then right into his rhythm with the little left-handed jump hook flip. Then Manu Ginobili reading the mind of Brent Barry. Spurs right back in it. Their timeout was worthwhile. Let's see what the Suns can come up with.
A slight delay here at America West Arena in Phoenix. That latest dunk has entered the floor, breaking the net. So the crew out there to put on a brand new net. Manu Ginobili off the fast break, ripping it out on this play. So you see the string come down. They're going to fix that.
That's how sizzling this game has been. They burned out the nets.
All right, well, we have the second. Let's go to our man Jim Gray with a very special guest.
Mike, thank you very much. He's very special indeed. This is Louis D'Antoni. He is the father of Mike. He's 91 years old. He spent 45 years coaching in high school in Mullins, West Virginia, 30 years of which before Mike and his brother were going to play on a high school team, he stepped aside to become the principal so that he wouldn't have that conflict. Mike's now coaching in the NBA. He's doing great here in his second stop after Denver. Was this the style of play that you taught him?
Well, yes, we played that style of play in Mullins for practically all the time I was there. I mean, in fact, I grew up with that style of play. We like point guards.
Well, you got a great one now.
Well, you have to have a great point guard to have a great team. You have good point guards, you have good teams. In my family, there's 8 male members, and all 8 of them are point guards. And the 8 also receive scholarships to college.
That's a good track record. Let me ask you, how often do you give Mike advice, and how often does he ask for advice?
I don't give him any advice now. I used to give it to him quite often when he was in high school and when he was in college. Not now. He knows more than I'd ever know.
You're 91 years of age. You're in great shape. Do you get nervous at these games? Do you get anxious, or can you sit here and enjoy it?
Well, I can enjoy it to a point. It's according to the way the games are going. You know, if the game's going good, I'm enjoying it. If it goes bad, I suffer just like the rest of them.
Mr. D'Antoni, thank you for taking the time with us.
I appreciate it very much and glad to be on. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Back to you, Mike and Bill.
All right, Jimmy. Well, he loves that point guard that is on the bench in a jacket and tie sitting right there with the clipboard. Mike D'Antoni, who not only learned from his dad, but he also learned by playing 13 years in Italy, where he won 5 championships as a player, and then coached in Italy and won a couple of championships there. And that was a big part of the influence on his life in basketball as he knows it today.
Mike D'Antoni is known as the greatest point guard in the history of Italian basketball. But back to Louis D'Antoni for a minute. He talked about after 30 years as the coach at the high school where they went, Mike and his brother, stepping aside to become the principal to avoid that conflict. After Mike and his brother moved on to college, he went back and became the coach again, of course, for another 15 years, and was just recently inducted into the West Virginia Sporting Hall of Fame. Louis D'Antoni, that is a legend.
Well, Mike D'Antoni, his favorite point guard is Steve Nash. And Nash suffered that injury in practice with Leandro Barbosa. He was telling us a little story about how it went down at practice.
I'm under the basket, and I see Leandro come down on Steve's foot, and I see him, he turned his ankle. And I'm going, gosh, you know, that's too bad that Leandro went down. And then I turned and I saw Steve Nash writhing on the floor, and I'm going, oh, my God. Little different reaction, but nothing against Leandro. But here's my bread and butter.
He's so refreshingly honest and just has so much fun and grateful for another chance in the NBA after so many years in Italy. Barbosa on the injured list, and he loves Barbosa, but he's just, you can tell this has been a special year for him because, as he said, everything's clicking. The chemistry, and you don't know why it happens sometimes, but the chemistry has been perfect.
Well, Mike was a tremendous basketball player in his own right. When he played at Marshall University, he left there as the school's all-time assist leader.
He said he grew up in Italy, though, when he went overseas. I owe everything to that experience over in Italy. Met his wife over there. Greg Popovich having a fun time with D'Antoni right now. Obviously, I don't know what they're laughing about, but they're sharing a laugh, looking down the sidelines at each other. Good camaraderie with the coaches.
Who else can we get Jim Gray to interview here?
Well, Mr. D'Antoni looks in terrific shape.
Oh, 91? Goodness gracious.
Meanwhile, 2-point lead for the Suns after they went up by 8. Spurs came right back, and Joe Johnson can't connect. Duncan with another rebound, his 13th. If you're just tuning in, this game has been pretty close throughout. Many lead changes, many ties. Also had some injuries, blocked by Stoudemire, but a goaltend off the glass. And credit 2 points to Duncan. Spurs playing without Rasho Nesterovic. Injured his ankle in the first half and will not return. The x-rays were negative.
But San Antonio's discipline on both ends of the court is forcing Phoenix, for good measure, to play in the half-court game, where their lack of size can be exposed by the brilliance of Tim Duncan.
Marion spotting up for 3. Sean Marion from downtown. They're now 6 of 13 from three-point range.
And that is the real way to come back and attack, with Marion, who's given up a lot on the defensive end, can get it back from three-point lane. Massenburg wide open.
And Tony Massenburg.
Look at Sean Marion.
Right away, off the make, they come right back down. Mike D'Antoni, meanwhile, screaming. He thought there should have been a foul.
Well, he was pushed on the head.
Lead for Phoenix is 3. Marion with 19 points and 11 rebounds.
backing off Brent Berry. I'm surprised he doesn't pull the trigger on that three.
And they're running away from Tony Massenberg, wanting him to shoot. And Barry can't get it.
Well, Brent is coming off one of his best games. Earlier this week, he had 5 for 5 3-pointers for a season-high 17 points.
Marion, tough shot. Oh, Sean Marion coming alive here in this third quarter. And Bo Outlaw enjoying the play of Marion.
Well, how do you guard shots like that? The guy's so quick, so athletic, so explosive. And he's making impossible shots seem routine.
Parker. Ball tipped out. Here's Joe Johnson. Oh, and threw it too high. You know, you talk about how do you guard. How does a 4 guard Marion? 3s have trouble. Small forwards have trouble guarding Sean Marion. Now he's playing the power forward position.
And he's doing exactly the right thing, which is make them play your game. That's the ultimate test of a champion, is that you determine the terms of the conflict.
Marion really coming on after the slow start. Greg Popovich upset about something.
Slapping the scorer's table over there.
Shot clock at 7. Duncan. Duncan got away with a push. And it's Phoenix ball. Oh, Popovich irate. I think he's mad at Tony Parker.
I think he's mad at Tony Massenberg. I think he's mad at the entire team. And they're standing around. They're waiting for Tim Duncan to bail him out.
Let's just say he's mad. Pass inside. And they say deflected. Nash said it was deflected.
They're going to talk this one over.
Derek Richardson's going to come in and help and change the call. That's good teamwork from the officials.
And that's where it pays to argue when you know you're right. One of the things that's really impressive about this Sun team this year, they haven't spent a lot of time arguing with the refs. Nice pass.
And Marion again. Sean Marion with 9 points here in this third quarter.
How about Quentin Richardson, though? Just this guy just having the time of his life. He's over 343s already this year.
Ginobili sneaks inside. Oh, tough shot. He just fits in so well with his style against Phoenix.
And he is going against a very, very good defensive player in Joe Johnson. Nice pass, Steve Nash.
Marion for 3. Sean Marion lighting it up here in the third quarter.
When your power forward is stroking threes, running the floor, all rules are off.
And many getting on their feet. He's got the last 12 points for the Suns. A standing ovation right now. Parker was open but did not shoot. Ginobili comes away with it. 3 on the shot clock. Here come the Suns. Marion again. Sean Marion exploding in the largest lead of the game for the Phoenix Suns. Stoudemire nearly takes it away. Parker. That's a 3. And everything going the Suns' way.
It seems as if there's 7 of them on the court.
Richardson puts it in. Timeout, San Antonio.
A 16-4 run keyed by Sean Marion. He should turn this into his individual highlight film. In transition, stroking threes, beating Tim Duncan head-to-head, whoever they put at him. The ability to knock down the outside shots time and time again. And these are not the same shots. These are all different shots. The great hands. The owner. Sarver. Ecstatic. Airborne.
2:18 remaining, third quarter. Sean Marion and the Phoenix Suns on a 16-4 run. Marion with 17 points in the period, and the Suns lead by 12. And they are fired up in America West Arena, where the Suns 16-3 this season. Reminder, Saturday on NBA TV, Celtics and Hawks from Atlanta, 7 Eastern. And then next Thursday on TNT, Pistons and Pacers from Indiana at 7 Eastern, followed by the Spurs hosting the Sacramento Kings. Sean Marion's been with the Suns longer than any other player on the roster in his 6th year. A former All-Star, sometimes goes unnoticed with the likes of Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire. The Spurs are certainly noticing here in this 3rd period.
A year ago this month, Brian Colangelo pulled the trigger of sending Stephon Marbury and Penny Hardaway to the New York Knicks. That was the turnaround. That freed up the ability of these guys to develop the young talent in Joe Johnson, and then gave them the salary cap flexibility in the free agent market to acquire this backcourt of Steve Nash and Quentin Richardson.
The Suns are 11 of 17 from the field in the 3rd quarter against the best defensive team in the NBA. Massenberg, Malik Rose, and he's fouled. Stephen Hunter will pick up the personal. That's his 4th as we check in with Jim Gray.
All right, Mike, you and Bill were talking about it. What started to get Greg Popovich upset is when they changed the nets. When the net got broken at about the 8-minute mark, the net now where the Spurs are shooting is different. It looks much different, and it doesn't set up the same way as the other net on the other end. He's been complaining to the officials about it ever since. The officials now will change the net so that it looks the same at both ends at the end of the quarter, but that's what started the ball rolling for Greg Popovich to be upset.
Malik Rose knocks down that shot. Does that make any difference, Bill?
They're only shooting at one end, and they've been shooting there for a while. It was their guy that broke the net.
Stoudemire gets inside, draws the foul, and one.
But to show you how dire the straits are for Greg Popovich right now, he's got Tim Duncan sitting on the bench. Now, normally this is his rest time, but they're up against it right now, and Phoenix has found their rhythm. Coincidentally, when Steve Nash came back to the lineup.
Stoudemire had a huge first half. He had 20 points at halftime. Now has 25. Suns just on a roll. They've made their last 8 shots from the field, and it's their largest lead of the game.
How important is confidence?
Malik Rose from outside.
And who would have ever thought that it would be little Stevie Nash that would give everybody the confidence?
See the matchup. 2 men up front. Massenberg now on Stoudemire.
Stoudemire's numbers against Shaq 10 days ago.
Quentin Richardson hits a 3. Not the 2-pointer. But that increases the lead to 15.
Spurs are in total trouble right now.
Kevin Brown falls, but able to hold on.
Something's going to have to turn quickly for San Antonio because nothing seems to be slowing down this squad.
Stoudemire with the block. Shot clock not reset, and Rose not even close. And it's going to be Suns ball with 39.5 remaining in the period.
Play 2 for 1 right now, and Steve Nash getting a well-deserved rest. Nash has completely outplayed Tony Parker. The turnaround, Parker 29 points, the first game between these two squads. Sean Marion had only 6 in that game as Phoenix had 2 players in double figures. Stoudemire with 37, Nash with 12.
Nice strip from Parker, then the foul on Stoudemire. So Stoudemire picking up his first, and they're in the penalty.
That's what always amazes me. These players like Amari Stoudemire, Charles Barkley, Bird, Magic, they play the whole game late in the 3rd. Oh, that's his first foul. He's involved in every single fray out there. That's only 1 foul on him.
So Massenberg will go to the line. Only an 11th and 12th free throw attempt by the Spurs. Reminder, you want to see Tim Duncan and Amari Stoudemire in the 2005 All-Star game? You only have until Sunday to vote. Go to the All-Star ballot on NBA.com and vote now. That man, no doubt, will be on the All-Star court in Denver. Steve Nash, he has been absolutely brilliant this season,
but he won't be there as a starter. But the coaches are going to have to vote him on. Because Tracy McGrady and Kobe Bryant are going to be there as the starter.
Who would be, if you could pick, who are your starting backcourt in the West?
You have to pick Steve Nash. And how about Ray Allen?
There you go with Nash now. That's not bad. Uber comes in the game. Parker will sit with Tony Parker, 1 of 9 from the field. And Parker also with 4 turnovers. And Massenberg misses both free throws. It was a 1-point game at halftime. And then Sean Marion just lit up the place. seconds of what's been a dominant third quarter for Phoenix. Woodrick kicks it out. Barry for three. Won't go. And that ends the third. Suns hit their final 10 shots from the field in the third quarter and outscore the Spurs 32-16.
Didn't Steve Nash used to do this for Dallas?
Nash with 8 assists, but Sean Marion 17 of his 28 in the third. It's all Phoenix right now in America West.
We're going to kind of silly around. This net's got a string down, and we're going to try to get it fixed. Nothing. Let me ask you a question. If I change, what do we got? If I change that net at the end of the third period down there, will you go with that? Yes, I will. Okay. Get Julie. He's made a legitimate request, and he thinks that this net is dramatically different than that net. So what we're going to do, he's agreed to play the third quarter like it is. At the quarter, I want this net changed.
But Greg Popovich dropped his request, and they'll keep the nets the same.
He realized that it was a specious argument that wasn't going anywhere, and all of a sudden you find yourself getting trounced by an absolutely dazzling team, and you get doubled up in the third quarter like that.
Tie game after one, 1-point game at halftime, and then Sean Marion and the Suns erupting in that third period. Smush Parker in the game. He's the backup right now to Nash. And Devin Brown, good rebound off Johnson's miss.
I really enjoyed the matchup between Ginobili and Joe Johnson today. Even though Johnson's not having a big game, he's done a lot of good things for his squad.
He's having one of those well-rounded games that he always seems to have. Brown was wide open, flat shot, and Marion, his 14th rebound of the game. And he outscored the Spurs himself in that third period. You know, it's a big part. Statistician Jimmy Stamos pointing it out, Phil. The rebounding. Suns +7 in the rebounding against the Spurs.
Well, they play a pace that will enable them, as an undersized squad, to get volume rebounds.
And they get a lot of long rebounds off missed threes. Ginobili hits a three. Ginobili's had a terrific game. He's got 28 points. And it's a 14-point game.
But who else is doing anything besides Tim Duncan? How many points did Parker have?
Parker has really struggled. 1 of 9 from the field with 4 turnovers.
How many points did Bruce Bowen have?
Bowen 0 for 7. And right now, Mike D'Antoni wants to call time. Welcome back to Phoenix. Just over a minute gone by in the fourth. The crowd loving every second of the Suns' 14-point lead. Sean Marion with 28 points and 14 rebounds. Marion, as we said, in his 6th year here in Phoenix, and he's a big part of the community. Marion always giving back and taking part in reading timeouts. He makes a number of visits to the children's hospitals and various hospitals each year. When he signed his new contract back in 2002, he pledged to assist the Valley of the Sun United Way with a lot of money. Part of his pledge, recently donated $125,000 for multiple projects, including the American Cancer Society. Sean Marion is one of those players that gets it, and has been giving it back here in Phoenix. And certainly giving it to the San Antonio Spurs tonight on the floor.
So quiet in demeanor. Never a person or player that draws attention to himself like Tim Duncan, like Kevin Garnett, other than with his game.
Foul on Bosco.
This is where the Spurs have to make their move. You got Amari Stoudemire catching a breath on the bench right now. Jake Bosco, the pressure on him. Bosco's a nice player. Do a good job, but this guy, Amari Stoudemire, this is a franchise-level player.
Bosco still coming back from earlier season and appendectomy. Woodrick not even close. And Ginobili able to garner the rebound. Barry steps back. Barry knocks down the 2, and very quickly, 5 quick points now for the Spurs. So just like that, it's a 12-point game. And a foul on Ginobili, defending Bosco in the low post. First team foul, and Ginobili's 3rd.
Steve Nash has to keep pushing the pace here. Don't get comfortable don't get overconfident thinking that San Antonio is going to stop. The two best teams in the league at the close games at the end, San Antonio and the Miami Heat.
Nash's pass off the foot. Woodrick outrunning everyone. Nice play from Bana Woodrick.
Woodrick does a nice job right there of denying Steve Nash so he can't get it up the court with the head of Steve.
And 7 quick points to start the fourth quarter. And they're certainly right back in it. Bosco inside. Oh, nice move from Jake Bosco.
Again, going left every time. Steve Nash. So very creative. Good hands by Bosco.
Nash now with 9 assists. Devin Brown left open, knocks down the shot.
It was Devin Brown's shot at the end of the half that really gave the Spurs some life there.
Sean Marion as the trailer. There's not even hit iron. Duncan, good outlet pass. Woodrick goes right at Marion. Brown keeps it alive, but it won't hit the baseline.
The second unit for the Spurs making it happen right now. Udrih, Barry, they're running. Devin Brown, they have the freshness to their game that we did not see tonight from Tony Parker and Bruce Bowen.
Nash walks it up for the first time tonight. Bosco inside, and he's pushed by Duncan, so Bosco will shoot a couple.
Steve Nash is playing so well that Jake Bosco can spin the wrong way on that screen and still execute the play. When you set the screen, you're supposed to open up to the ball. When you turn that way, you lose all sight of the ball. But it was still so wide open, as we saw at the San Antonio Spurs practice today. Their goal, their strategy was to double team Steve Nash when he came off that high screen and roll.
Let's go to Jim Gray.
Mike, when we spoke to Mike D'Antoni before the game, told us we're 31-9, almost with the best record in the NBA. Now we've lost 5 games in a row. It's like a house fell on us. Before, if anybody would have said that, we'd have been jumping for joy. He said we have no identity without Steve Nash. As for a plan B, we have no plan B. We're going to get our butts kicked without Steve Nash unless we got $66 million more to try and find somebody else like him.
They have found out the hard way just how good Nash is. Nice defensive play from Sean Marion. Marion doing it all tonight. Always amongst the leaders in the NBA in steals and rebounds. Leads the team in rebounds, steals, and minutes. Nash working nice with Bosco. Richardson inside. He's a good finisher.
A power player. And that's forces Greg and Popovich to take yet another timeout. But that 5-game losing streak, that's record-setting territory for a team with the best record in the league.
And Popovich calls a full timeout. San Antonio came out, cut a 17-point lead to 10, but Nash's passes setting things up.
He passes the ball before the double team gets there. Everybody on the move. What are you to do defensively? Greg Popovich is going to have to figure something out.
Welcome back to Phoenix. I'm Jim Gray. The Suns has opened up a pretty big lead here in the fourth quarter. I'm now joined by Robert Sarver. He is the brand new owner of the Phoenix Suns. He bought it from Jerry Colangelo. His son Max has the net that came down off there. Robert, you're 31-9 in your first 40 games in the NBA. Was this what you expected?
Actually, I thought we'd do a little better, but
yeah, right.
no, this is great. You can see now we got Steve back, the sun is back, and we are playing our game, and this is our basketball, and as you can see, it's exciting to watch, and we're kicking it right now.
Robert, you live in San Diego. You and your partner, Dick Heckman of the K2 Corporation, travel to every game. Can you keep up this pace, and are you going to be able to keep your voice and this type of enthusiasm?
I better. I'm only 43, so I got to have enough energy, and we're glad we took this net off because this net was kind of working too good. So this one came off. We got a new one on.
You believe that you can build a championship team. It eluded this club for the entire time since they've been in existence. Tomorrow is the anniversary, 1968, when it came into the league. Can this be a championship city?
I think we got a chance this year. I'm not going to say I built it because these guys put it in place this year. We made a little trade today, and you know, at this stage, Jerry's not buying green bananas. So this is a year, baby.
Robert, good to talk to you. Congratulations on your success so far.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Mike.
Jim, thank you. Robert Sarver earlier this season, along with the Gorilla, tried to dunk off a trampoline. Got it on the third time, but he really hurt his wrist. And I think his neck as well.
He bruised his shoulder, pulled both groin muscles. He's coming out again this Sunday against New Jersey with the dance squad. They're going to have a hip-hop performance here with Robert Sarver, the youngest owner in the entire NBA.
Meanwhile, the Spurs again has cut it to 10. That's a three. Ginobili from downtown, and it's a 7-point game. Quickly, Stoudemire down the other end, and a hard foul, but a smart one by San Antonio.
Look at the shot clock, Mike. 21 seconds to go on it.
And again, that's off of Nate.
This is a dagger three that gets San Antonio right back into it as the Spurs have outscored the Suns by 10 here in the fourth. But through the net, one pass over the top, and there's 21 seconds left.
That last foul on Barry was his third. Ginobili, I think, has a cut, so he's going to have to go get that attended to. Ginobili, 31 points. And for Manu Ginobili, a season high. We saw him have a 29-point game earlier this season.
Interesting about Robert Sarver, though. It was just 5 years ago that Mark Cuban joined the league. And everybody criticized him for the owners being overly enthusiastic. But that's all changed now. The new ownership group up in Boston, Seattle, here in Phoenix now, Dallas. The times are changing.
Duncan. Nice feed inside. Oh. Woodrick almost put it in.
I love the way Duncan goes over and picks him up.
That's part of the leadership. The foul goes against Sean Marion, who has 4.
Look at Duncan's eyes. He's, again, passing before the diminutive Steve Nash can get in there and have any sort of effect whatsoever. And Duncan says, hey, come on. My guy should be knocking into the ground.
Woodruff knocks it in. 22 years old. The rookie from Slovenia was their first-round pick this past year, 28th overall. Played in Slovenia and Russia and Italy and Israel as a pro. And has really made the transformation very well.
This is the time of year when a lot of the rookies hit the so-called rookie wall. At the halfway mark, they asked Woodrick about that. He said, look, I played in a year where I had 93 games one time.
Oh, Ginobili off another turnover. Nash turned it over, and it's a 4-point game. The Spurs have come out on fire here to begin the fourth quarter. A 19-6 run to start the period. Look at Brown on Nash.
Doubt and indecision on behalf of the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, Nash, not a good shot that time. Duncan's presence altered it.
Devin Brown done a real nice job out there for Greg Popovich.
Oh, what a turnaround. At halftime, it was a 1-point game. Suns dominated the third. It's the Spurs dominating the fourth right now. Duncan, stripped.
Get out in transition if you're the Suns.
Nash finding Joe Johnson for 3. Big bucket from Joe Johnson. He's got 16.
All comes from the defense. Finally, Amari Stoudemire didn't want to play center at the start of the season. Now he's going to make the All-Star team.
Meanwhile, Nash with his 10th assist of the night. 7 on the shot clock. And Duncan foul by Stoudemire. That's the 14th foul against the Suns. And Stoudemire picks up his second.
Transition basketball. Ignited by your defense. Stoudemire able to stand in there and go toe-to-toe with Tim Duncan. And then a quick pass across the court by Steve Nash. Joe Johnson, who has not made that shot consistently tonight, although he's more than capable of doing it, makes a very timely three-pointer.
Woodrick getting the fourth quarter minutes. Parker struggled tonight. Brown just lost the ball.
Nice.
Marion on the finish. Steve Nash once again electrifying the crowd on the fast break.
He fooled the defense so badly that time. The defense ran to the wrong guy.
Duncan on the offensive rebound. Ginobili fakes the 3. Manu Ginobili inside, blocked by Stoudemire. Amari Stoudemire with his second block of the game.
Remember the story as the ball just rejected and sent back. Over time, Amari Stoudemire
will learn to keep that ball in play and ignite yet another fast break. 7 blocks for the Spurs on the night.
Ginobili trying to find some room. Woodrick, that's a 3. Air ball.
Transition buckets. The Suns +9 on the night.
Nash to Stoudemire, but he couldn't handle a pass.
That's almost the play that Steve has to shoot the ball. But he's so unselfish.
So efficient, 5 of 10 from the field. 13 points, 11 assists.
And he was questionable before the game.
Ginobili kicks it out. Barry hesitated, had the open look. Ginobili for 3. That's good. Manu Ginobili with a career-high 36 points. He's 13 of 18 from the field. And he's playing out there with Woodrick. Nash falling away. Here comes Brown. Oh, beautiful pass, and Barry finishes it, and back to a 4-point game.
They need a timeout quickly.
They look a little tired right now.
Well, Steve Nash hasn't played in a couple of weeks, so he's going to be winning. You miss even a couple of days, you lose your conditioning edge.
And he's played 37 minutes so far. With the Spurs bouncing back from 17 down here in the 4th quarter. They've already scored 24 points in the period, and they've made it a 4-point game. All right, John, thank you very much. You know, in calling nicknames and watching Lenny Wilkins, whether the team's going through a good time or a bad time, a man who's had an unbelievable career always carries himself with dignity.
It's very sad what's happened there because this is not a coaching problem. It's not as if somebody else is going to come in there and they're all going to turn it around and surge toward the championship this year. This will be a stain and stigma on all of those players for the rest of their lives.
Nash gets inside. Stoudemire. Talk about drawing in the defense. 28 for Stoudemire, 12 assists for Nash.
How did he get that ball through? Remember what D'Antoni said this morning? That when Steve Nash plays an average game, he had 15 assists.
Ginobili with 7 on the shot clock. Joe Johnson defending him beautifully. And Ginobili still puts it in. Tough shot.
So you force him to his right, which he doesn't want to go to. You force him into a fadeaway after coming to a dead stop, and he still knocks it down. Career high 38 for Manu Ginobili.
He's 14 of 19 from the field, and he's got 13 points in the period.
Yeah, Woodrick is playing some good defense on Steve Nash.
Stoudemire, and he draws the foul on Duncan. Duncan picks up his 3rd. Stoudemire to the line.
Steve Nash running that high screen and roll just hangs in the air, and we are seeing an emerging phenomenon here in Amari Stoudemire, as well as Manu Ginobili. His ability to hit incredible shots like that.
But the Suns have hurt themselves at the free throw line. They've missed 8 free throws tonight. And you mentioned Woodrick. Tony Parker not playing well tonight. So Parker, who has been on the bench for a long stretch, going with the rookie Woodrick.
He's playing 3 of his bench guys down the stretch here in the 4th quarter. They're the guys who got it going for him, and Duncan was taking his rest in between the 3rd and 4th changeover. Woodrick, Barry, and Devin Brown.
5-point game. Ginobili draws the foul. And Manu Ginobili will go back to the line. The best scoring game of his NBA career. He's also with 5 assists and 4 rebounds.
If Phoenix doesn't win this game, this is going to be very tough for them to swallow.
Mike D'Antoni wasn't sure how many minutes he was going to play Nash. He said, we'll see how he feels, see how he plays. He's playing great, and he feels pretty good. Ginobili makes it a 3-point game. 40 points from Manu Ginobili.
Steve Nash has played great in spurts tonight. Is he in great enough?
And there's a foul on Duncan. Duncan upset as he picks up his 4th. Popovich upset. But Stoudemire's going to shoot 2.
And do 5 push-ups and flex to the crowd. You got to be kidding me. This guy's good. This guy is going to change basketball. We have seen him in 10 days.
Well, see, now there looks like a lot of contact there. That's when you're 22 years old and you can do that. But he misses a free throw. Here's a guy who's played 37 minutes banging with the best player in the world in Tim Duncan. He's doing push-ups.
Does he appear tired to you, Mike?
You're not allowed to be tired at 22.
Well, you're supposed to be tired at the end of the game.
Bo Outlaw couldn't look at the free throws, and free throws really hurting them. They've missed 10 now.
When Bo Outlaw can't look at the free throws, you know it's serious.
Ginobili again gets inside, right-handed. And a foul. And it's going to stay down at this end. It will go against Phoenix. And free throws again coming up for the San Antonio Spurs.
Half-court basketball favoring Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs.
Nash picks up his second.
But in the last 10 days, Amari Stoudemire has taken it to Shaquille O'Neal, and tonight he's taken it to Tim Duncan. And he's 22 years old.
Duncan, 2 of 4 tonight from the free throw line. Saturday, ESPN, a full day of college basketball. At noon Eastern, Kansas against Villanova. And then at 9 Eastern on ESPN2, Pitt against UConn. But UConn also available high definition on ESPN HD. And how about this? It's a 1-point game. Spurs 7 of 7 from the free throw line in the fourth quarter, whereas the Suns have missed free throws.
And the Spurs are forcing the Suns to walk the ball up. Great closeout defense. Duncan.
Dangerous pass. 4 on the shot clock. Stoudemire to Marion. Stoudemire should have shot it. But either way, they get a foul, and now it's the Suns back to the line, where they're 3 of 8 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'd rather have Sean Marion going to the line, though, at this point than Amari Stoudemire. Up against it, the shot clock running down. Amari Stoudemire almost has to shoot. How long in the lane?
You know, he couldn't shoot it. Duncan came over to help out, and Marion was in the right place.
You know how Duncan guarded everybody who had the ball in that entire 24-second possession?
Marion, a very good free throw shooter. 31 for the game. He had that 17-point third quarter. Now it's Manu Ginobili's turn with a 13-point fourth quarter. And Marion hits a bunch. Excuse me, Ginobili has 15 here in the fourth.
Stoudemire has got to come to the fore here and shut down Tim Duncan. If they can play Duncan without double teaming, they'll really help their chances.
Barry passed up the 3. Brown will try it. Won't go. Ginobili keeps it alive. Brown knocks it loose, but Nash comes out of the pack. Both teams extending themselves here in the fourth quarter.
Steve Nash looked over at referee Jim Baker and said, "What is a foul? I got knocked to the ground there." Now this is where they get in a little bit of trouble, the Suns. What kind of set offense go-to guy do they have?
Stoudemire on Brown. Good no call, and Stoudemire puts the Suns back up by 5. Timeout, San Antonio. And another standing ovation in America West.
And this is where the injuries and the lack of big men depth for San Antonio really comes into play.
Amari Stoudemire with 31. Sean Marion with 32. Steve Nash distributing as they got the lead again. Just under 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. The Suns saw a 17-point lead cut to 1. But they bounced back and now lead by 5. Each team with timeouts remaining. Spurs have a 20 left. Suns with a full and a 20. Neither team with a foul to give. And Rasho Nesterovic, of course, not a big scorer for this team, but when he left in the first quarter, that's made a difference defensively. Opened things up for Amari Stoudemire and Sean Marion down low.
And they have delivered here. Sports Center coming up next. Ron Artest allowed to return to practice for the Indiana Pacers. Big football games, but now it's Amari Stoudemire going 13 for 17. Sean Marion 11 for 18. They are combined shooting 69%. Quickness, speed, but most importantly, skill. Did somebody just bring a motorcycle in here? Goodness gracious.
The gorilla. Meanwhile, in that third quarter, this was my ride home. The Suns had 32 points in the third quarter. Dominated the period, went up by 17. But it's the Spurs that come back. They've scored 30 points here in the fourth quarter. Half of them from that man, Manu Ginobili. But right now they're down 5. Still plenty of time remaining. The fans have been on their feet much of the second half in this sellout crowd in America West.
Attendance up 7% from last year when he only won 29 games.
The Suns trying to snap a 5-game losing streak and trying to regain the best record in the NBA. And Ginobili fouled again. Johnson bumped him, and he'll go back to the free throw line, where tonight he's 7 for 7.
When you watch Manu Ginobili and Steve Nash play, the way they float over the court, the change of pace, change of direction, the stutter step that they always use to create the scoring opportunities. Brilliant.
Ginobili has been brilliant tonight. 5 assists, 4 rebounds in his career high, 41. Couple of terrific foreign point guards. Well, Ginobili a 2-guard. Nash, of course, from Canada. Ginobili from Argentina. And you see the free throw shooting. It's been huge for San Antonio here in the fourth quarter. Nash finding Stoudemire. Stripped by Ginobili. Nearly taken back by Richardson.
Patience if you're the Spurs right here. Duncan and Ginobili are your guys. Have them play 2-man basketball. Duncan's calling for it.
Barry looking for Duncan. Stoudemire fronting, but Marion right there behind.
Great defensive rotation, Marion.
Devin Brown kicks it out. Buderick for 3. Rebound, Richardson. Throws it ahead to Marion. Oh, what a pass. Oh, and Marion misses the layup.
Ginobili did his job defensively. Forced a double clutch.
Ginobili kicks it out. Barry for 3. Bang! And the game is tied with 53 seconds remaining.
Shot clock clearly in favor of the home team.
What a comeback from the Spurs. Down 17 here in the fourth quarter. Nash tied up. Shot clock down to 7. Joe Johnson inside. Stoudemire with 2 on the shot clock. 33 for Amari Stoudemire.
They're going without the timeout here.
There's about a 5-second difference between the shot and game clock. Barry, another 3. Puts it in! And the Spurs with their first lead of the second half.
No timeout for Phoenix.
Well, they still have 1 remaining. Nash comes up short. Rebound Duncan. Then they have to foul him. They still had a 20-second timeout. Now the Suns had a full timeout. And Brent Barry with huge 3-pointers here in the fourth quarter.
This has been an unbelievable turn of events here. Phoenix seemingly in complete control, but Barry, Manu Ginobili, the defense of Tim Duncan.
And now, big free throws from Duncan. Even if he hits both, this game is not over. Maybe their best comeback of the season. And Duncan, 23 points, 18 rebounds.
Phoenix is the team that's noted for their comebacks from double-digit deficits. Tonight it was the Spurs.
How about the Spurs? 39 points now here in this fourth quarter on the road. Again, the Suns still have a timeout, so they can call it and advance the ball. And Duncan, 2 clutch free throws. They will not call timeout. Marion has to put up the 3. Puts it in at the buzzer. He ties the game. Now they got to review it to make sure he got it off in time and to see if it was a 2 or a 3. It was very close to the line.
The rules are you can review where the feet are.
2 key components. Did he get it off in time, which appeared he did, and was it a 3? That was close.
Steve Nash up in transition, eschewing the timeout. Sean Marion had the game of his life. Both feet definitely behind the line.
And clearly got it off in time.
We're going to overtime. Both games tonight. Indiana, Miami, and now San Antonio and Phoenix.
It was close, but an easy call for the officials. They just give the official signal, count it, put 5 minutes on the clock. The San Antonio Spurs fight from 17 down in the fourth quarter to take the lead. But Sean Marion at the buzzer. And Marion with 35 points. Overtime with the two best records in the NBA. A matchup of the two best records in the NBA. The best offensive team against the best defensive team. And they each scored 111 in regulation, so 5 minutes on the clock. Brent Barry, two huge three-pointers in the final minutes.
Brent Barry, who has been playing very well of late after a brief struggle early on this year. Two big three-pointers, but then it was Sean Marion shuffling the feet a little bit, but it was that right foot that appeared to be his pivot foot, clearly behind the line, clearly before the red light comes on. Overtime, what could be better?
First overtime game of the season for the Spurs, who were down 17 to start the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, Phoenix, all five starters have played 40-plus minutes. Joe Johnson, 47. Marion, 46. Richardson, 45. Nash, 41. And Stoudemire, 40.
Phoenix has a total of 3 points off the bench.
Oh, Stoudemire right at Duncan. He's got 35. Suns so happy to have Steve Nash back, who has 12 assists. Want to snap that 5-game losing streak. Barry.
Shot clock a factor here.
Barry again for three. Oh, Brent Barry with 16 points off the bench, his fourth three-pointer.
Talk about a bailout shot.
Richardson inside, left-handed, won't go. And Ginobili comes away.
Wild foray by Q that time. You got Stoudemire playing brilliantly, going right at Tim Duncan. Milk him.
Duncan. And Duncan. Ooh. Strong to the goal. 3-point lead for the Spurs. You know, one of the reasons that Mike D'Antoni's played his starters so much, number one, he loves to play them. All that, it's his best team. But also, they only have 9 guys because of the Jimmy Jackson acquisition today. They only dress 9 players.
And the injury to Barbosa.
Stoudemire falls. And it's still Phoenix ball with 13 on the shot clock. How about Beno Udrih getting some big minutes? Tony Parker's been on the bench.
Phoenix looks discombobulated. Not particularly a good and effective half-court team. They're now seeing why San Antonio and Miami are so devastating down the stretch of games.
Udrih comes up with a loose ball. Barry.
Oh, great defense by Quentin Richardson.
Well, didn't exactly expect that. Not a smart pass from Barry that time. Marion kicks it out. Joe Johnson, tough shot, and he's fouled. And Ginobili picks up his fourth. Tony Parker has not played, by the way, since the third quarter. But Brent Barry has, as is Udrih.
Brent Barry doesn't know what to do here. Doesn't know what to do. They're playing so far off. He just says, hey, I'm just going to jack up a 3 here. The guy's so hot.
Barry 4 of 6 from downtown. Joe Johnson, again, one of those big all-around games.
We talked about the slow stretch that Brent Barry had. 6 weeks ago, there was a time when he missed 17 straight 3-point shot attempts.
Well, Greg Popovich said early in the season he was trying maybe to impress his new teammates too much. Now he's settled down and starting to hit big shots. And a 3-second violation, defensive 3 seconds called against, I believe, against Sean Marion. So a technical foul and 1 shot.
Check the way that Beno Udrih is feeding the post. This guy's got skill. He's got a game. So often you're playing with a guy like Tim Duncan, they can't even get him the ball. This guy just a rookie. Udrih just able to just lay it in there perfectly.
Meanwhile, Ginobili has 43 points now. He's perfect from the line, 10 for 10.
Udrih 9 points, 4 assists on the night.
Oh, Ginobili! 45 for Ginobili. And this for San Antonio, their largest lead of the game.
Phoenix looks stunned. They should have been the ones that had the confidence and the optimism after Marion's desperation shot to close regulation. But Ginobili down the lane here, the crossover and then the throw. Now that's 3 guys he just torches right there. Joe Johnson is outstanding. Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire.
Joe Johnson, as you mentioned earlier, a very good defender. But Ginobili beating anyone off the dribble tonight. Anyone and everyone. 14 on the shot clock. Suns will inbound. In overtimes, you get 3 timeouts. Each team gets 3. You shoot the penalty on the 4th team foul in the OT, and the second, obviously, in the last 2 minutes. Nash throws it away. And Steve Nash with his 5th turnover.
D'Antoni does not like the way things are going. He's got to call a timeout quickly.
2:42 remaining in overtime. The Phoenix Suns with their leader back, trying to snap the 5-game losing streak. With Manu Ginobili having the game of his NBA career. It's been some stretch for Manu Ginobili. He won a gold medal and got married during the summer, got a brand new contract, and now having the best game of his NBA career. 45 points here in Phoenix tonight.
After watching this game, you can make the argument that this was the greatest draft day steal in the history of the NBA. Torching, he tore the net down himself. Every which way, Manu Ginobili has beaten the Phoenix Suns tonight. From behind the arc, at the hoop, above the rim. He made the first basket of the game tonight with a throwdown right down the lane, and he has continued unabated.
And remember, he sprained his ankle earlier in the game, was down and looked like it was in some trouble, but he bounced back up. He's got some real toughness.
I think the toughness has been shown by Greg Popovich. The willingness to go with his 3 key guys off the bench and keep Bowen Parker on that bench.
Duncan, tough shot. And the lead is up to 6. But still plenty of time remaining, especially when you're playing the Phoenix Suns.
Yes, but Phoenix is not getting out in transition anymore.
Richardson, long 3.
And that confidence that evaporated as soon as Steve Nash's injuries started to pile up now seems to be creeping back in, that lack of it.
There's Udrich, who's played a career-high 24 minutes. Getting all the time in the 4th quarter and overtime. Beautiful pass. Duncan misses, gets his own rebound, and a foul.
Look at the bench for San Antonio.
What a great entry pass, though, Bill.
Absolutely. San Antonio is just playing exquisite basketball down the stretch here, really since the start of the 4th quarter. Duncan backing his way down, so disciplined, so determined to get what he wants.
That was the last one.
And then a terrific pass by Devin Brown. And Duncan gets a rebound, takes away the assist from Devin Brown, but most importantly now they're building on this lead.
8-point advantage. Duncan with a 30-point night with 19 rebounds. Nash to Marion. Oh, pretty pass from Nash. And it's back to a 6-point game.
One of the few times Phoenix able to score in the half court set. They've got to get a stop right now.
Udrich again. They spread the floor so nicely, Bill.
They balance it. And they can all knock down those perimeter jumpers.
5 on the shot clock. Tough shot. And Marion with another rebound is 15.
This is where the Suns are at their best. But the transition defense so solid for the Spurs.
Oh, Udrich with the steal. He read the pick and roll beautifully. And Brown wisely slows it down. Oh, terrific play from Beno Udrich.
Suns up against it right now.
Ginobili looks up at the shot clock. Johnson trying to poke it away. Ginobili with 2-pointer. 47 for Ginobili.
You can't back off the ball like that, particularly when the ball has got how many? 47, you say? Look at the defense by Udrich.
Nash. That's a 3 for Nash. Steve Nash bounces back. Again, a 5-point game.
The toll on Steve Nash, though, he does not look good right now. He's grimacing, limping when he runs.
45 minutes, Steve Nash on the floor in his first game after missing 3.
D'Antoni's calling for a foul.
Yeah, they needed a foul. But the shot clock would have gone all the way down. It'd be down to 19, and it's a 2-possession game. And now they need to hope for some missed free throws. So Duncan will go to the line with 27 seconds remaining. No, no, not. It's the first foul in the last 2 minutes, so it's not a penalty yet.
And there's some Spurs fans here chanting MVP, MVP as they talk to them. They got a foul. What are they doing out there?
Ginobili kicks it out. Woodrick to Brown. Brown goes up. Wild shot. And he gets his own rebound.
They got a foul.
That will do it. With 13.4 remaining. Tim Duncan gathering the team, and Mike D'Antonio seeing his team blow a 17-point fourth-quarter lead. He wanted them to foul right away.
Well, this is the youngest team in the entire league. This is a team that has been struggling for 10 days since they torched the Miami Heat here a week ago Tuesday night. The critical thing now, though, Phoenix cannot lose their sense of direction and purpose.
Well, Mike D'Antoni is very proud of what the team is doing. And what did he tell us? I think we're here to stay. Our style and this team is going to be around for a while.
I sure hope so.
And the Suns will call timeout with 13.4 seconds remaining. And they're in disbelief as they saw a 17-point fourth-quarter lead disappear. Sean Marion hit that three-pointer at the buzzer to tie the game and send it into overtime. But in OT, it has been all Tim Duncan and the San Antonio Spurs. And Spurs are the best team in the NBA right now, and to win this way on the road when this crowd was crazy to come back in the fourth quarter like that, very impressive.
And a game like this has so much impact, not only on the psyches of the players, but also on Greg Popovich, who now moves into a good, solid position to maybe coach his first ever All-Star game. As well as they've done in the Tim Duncan era, they have been the best team cumulatively by record in the Tim Duncan era. Greg Popovich has never coached the NBA All-Star game.
And they have not been a great road team this year. They're 11-8 on the road. They had lost 3 straight on the road coming into this one. Well, this just a great road victory for them against a Phoenix Suns team that was desperate for a win with Nash back in their 5-game losing streak.
As a follow-up to that road point that you made, San Antonio is only 2-6 this year in road games against teams with winning records, which of course Phoenix obviously is. Both wins against the Lakers and the Mavericks coming during the first month of the season when San Antonio looked like they were on their way to an undefeated year.
And the San Antonio Spurs, one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the NBA, shot 82% from the line tonight, whereas the Suns missed a lot of big free throws in the fourth quarter, and that was a difference as well. But Brent Barry's 2 3-pointers in the final minute brought them back to help tie that game in regulation.
And in support of Barry, in support of Duncan and Ginobili, Popovich found 2 key reserves in Beno Udrih, excuse me, and Devin Brown. The 3-pointers, though, by Brent Barry, a former slam dunk champion, leader of field goal percentage from three-point land over the years. Timely, precision daggers.
Johnson. Oh, Joe Johnson puts it in with 9.8 remaining. And very quickly, San Antonio calls timeout. So still timeouts remaining for the Suns. What they'll try and do is steal the inbound. If not, foul right away. And they can advance the ball with a timeout.
And they miss both free throws. Then Phoenix comes down, hits another 3, foul again. They miss the free throws. They come down, hit it 2, and we go to double overtime here. And all the fans that have already left America West, they will miss out on one of the great games in NBA history.
Well, this game featured the teams with the best records in the NBA. Even with the 5-game losing streak, the Suns came in with the second-best record in the league. San Antonio at the top. Miami, which went into overtime with Indiana. And Miami earlier tonight at home, losing to the Pacers. Of course, Seattle and Sacramento coming on once again. What makes this game...
Sacramento's playing good ball right now. Chris Webber, Mike Bibby, Peja Stojakovic. San Antonio goes up to Sacramento on Sunday night.
There you see the Suns, first 70 days of the season, only lost 4 times. And then Steve Nash got hurt. Although Mike D'Antoni said that right before Nash got hurt, they were sliding a little bit, especially on the defensive end. But now they're on the verge of losing their 6th straight game. But they are an elite team in this league this year, the way they played, and now with Nash back. Although it's hard to lose a 17-point fourth quarter lead, you are playing against the best team in the league in San Antonio.
6-game losing streaks are always tough. Never forget that last season, the Detroit Pistons, who went on to become the world champions, had their own 6-game losing streak.
Well, the Suns want to extend this one a little longer. Ginobili trying to get free. Nearly a 5-second count. They fouled Ginobili with 9 seconds left. And Ginobili with a chance to cap off a brilliant game, a career-high 47 points. He's got 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 16 of 22 from the field, perfect from the line.
How many players in the league, other than the best of the best, like the Duncans, the Garnetts, the Shaqs, would you not trade for Manu Ginobili? This guy, he's got an incredible future.
I agree with you. He should be on an all-star team this year.
It's going to be tough to beat the all-star team.
Yep, there's so many good players. And San Antonio up 5. Mike D'Antoni will call his final timeout. Well, I think he still has his 20 from regulation. You're allowed to carry over your 20. But the lead is 5. Tim Duncan, 30 points, 19 rebounds, 3 block shots. In a game where Tony Parker did not play at all in the fourth quarter and overtime. Parker just 2 points, 5 turnovers. It was Ginobili and Beno Udrih who played brilliantly. Parker's had these stretches sometimes, has a bad game, and Popovich not afraid to sit him down. And you know he'll bounce back.
And while they've had terrific backup guards in years past, I don't know if any of them are as good as this guy, Beno Udrih.
Well, Parker is a better offensive player in terms of shooting and scoring, but Udrih just has such a feel. And you said just his entry passes.
He's a very solid defensive player as well. Long faces around, and this is where Steve Nash really has to set the tone here. Say, guys, we had a chance and we blew it. Now let's just pick it up and move on, because the Suns are going on a really difficult road. They got New Jersey coming in here, obviously with the loss of Richard Jefferson. The Nets aren't the force that they were before. But then the Suns go on an incredibly demanding road trip.
Mike D'Antoni told us earlier this season, one of the things he loves about Nash is how positive he is, even in adverse times. And so you know he'll take the lead there to keep the team's heads up, despite a very disappointing loss tonight if they do indeed finish out and lose this game. Jim Clark checking. Shot clock is obviously turned off. 9 seconds remain.
If Phoenix wins this game, they're going to need a lot of help from San Antonio.
Johnson turns, fires up the 3. And rebound Brown. And that will do it.
Devin Brown, solid performance.
And the San Antonio Spurs, in their 3rd in a row, increased their NBA best record to 33-9. Manu Ginobili, a career-high 48, as they come back from 17 points down in the fourth quarter to win on the road.
The Spurs will not need a plane to get to Sacramento tonight.
And Phoenix loses their 6th in a row. Again, the final score in overtime, the Spurs 128, the Suns 123. Coming up next on ESPN, SportsCenter coming your way. For Bill Walton, Jim Gray, and our entire terrific ESPN crew, this is Mike Breen saying so long from America West Arena in Phoenix as the Spurs defeat the Suns in OT.